नमस्कार। आप सभी लोग अपने अपनों घरों पर स्वस्थ रूप से कोविड-19 से बचते हुए तथा समाज की सेवा करते हुए सकुशल होंगे, इस आशा के साथ हम अपने अगले टॉपिक की बात करते हैं। तो एज स्टूडेंट्स यू ऑल आर लर्निंग अबाउट द लेसन that is environmental issues, in which we have talked about different kinds of the pollutions, radioactive waste also, solid waste also, water pollution also, air pollution also, noise pollution also. Let's move the most environmental degrading substances, that is called the ozone depletions, means the ozone layer depletions, means especially as you know that in our atmosphere the different layers, the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere, so on layers are found over there, but especially the ozone gas, the ozone layer is found into the stratosphere, right? Sometimes it can be also called as the ozonosphere. Generally this ozone can helpful for the protections the life on the earth from the harmful effects of the UV rays radiations. And generally the thickness of this gaseous layer is always measured in a unit that is called the Dobson, represented with du, right? Sometimes some people say the good ozone and the bad ozone, because sometimes can be asked about this one, what about this good ozone and bad ozone? Especially we can say this ozone can be bad ozone, right, when it can form into the troposphere, mean the lowest air layer, right? In that time it can be shows a lots of the harmful effects on the plants, on the animals, so we can say it is very dangerous in that particular condition. So in that particular condition these plants or these animals can choose very ill effects in that condition, due to which it can be shows such type of structures, such type of things which can be very dangerous for our environmental conditions, right? In that particular conditions this gas is known as the bad ozone. But on the other hand we can also known as that ozone can be a good. Why? Because it, whenever this ozone can always found into the layer of stratosphere, in the stratosphere this ozone layer can act like a shield absorbing the UV rays radiations which is coming from the sun. So whenever we can say the ozone is in the stratosphere, it is a good ozone, but when the layer of ozone will form into the troposphere, that is a bad ozone, right? After that we can say how this ozone can be formed in our environment. As you all have seen in the here, that especially the ozone in the earth atmosphere is generally created by ultraviolet rays striking, right? Means if we can say directly this ozone can be found, means when the oxygen O2 is breaks in the UV rays presence, right? It will makes the oxygen plus oxygen, and that oxygen can be known as the nascent oxygen, means this is the nascent oxygen. And these nascent molecules can be again when we started under the other conditions, that you can say especially when O2 react with that nascent oxygen and in the presence of UV rays, it can form the O3, that is the ozone, right? Mean it can be formed with the help of this UV rays also, but this process is very slow. That's why there is a lack of these such conditions, as we can just think in the theoretically, right? Means creating two single oxygens at atoms known as atomic oxygen. This atomic oxygen then generally with the help of these two single oxygen atoms, right, the atomic oxygen then combine with the molecule of O2 to create O3, right, especially into the stratosphere. And we can say that this ozone can in the stratosphere, ozone is formed the photo associated this process, right? This process will done over there, and which can be dissipated the energy of the UV radiations. On the other hand, we can say that ozone absorbs most of the ultraviolet rays in that particular conditions, right? Means they can be capable to absorb, as I have already told you, in the good ozone conditions, right? Means it can make a shield on the surface of the earth, so the harmful radiation cannot be attached on the surface of the earth one. On the other hand, if we can talk about the different substances of the ODS, means ozone depleting substances, how this ODS can be effect to our environment. Especially you all must know that they can be easily found in our atmosphere, right? You know that the ozone depleting substances over here, especially in that particular conditions, right, which can be react to ozone and present the atmosphere and destroy the same one. Means these ODS can capable to react it with the ozone and it can be destroyed over from there. So especially we can say there are two substances like the which can be acts like by the aerosol one, right? Which we these substances, these aerosols can be created a chemical related into the air which can force in the form of the mist vapor and major aerosol pollutant present in the jet planes emissions. Means whenever the jet plane can be emitted, they can be found the such fluorocarbons in that particular conditions, or beside that it can be forms that is called the chlorofluorocarbon or CFC. It can be in different variation, different conditions. So especially we can say, right, it may be CFCs, CFCl2, FV, so on. So these all agents can be useful, especially this chlorine tetrachloride fluoride can be always used in the different accommodating substances like the air conditioner in our surrounding, refrigerator in our, and right, and the cleaning solvent also, aerosol, propellants. These all are different substances which can be acts as the ODS or the ozone depleting substances. On the other hand, there are some other substances which can be nitrogen oxide, which can be come from the from the fertilizers we utilize in our agriculture fields. Hydrocarbons also be responsible for the ozone depletion. So we most effective substances which can be destroy our ozone, that are they all are in the category of the ODS. We can say generally how this can be acts in different. If we can talk about the depletion of ozone, how the ozone can be degraded in that particular condition, we can say when the CFC is discharged, right, into the lower part of the atmosphere, they can be just move on the upper part of the atmosphere in the region of the stratosphere, where this stratosphere, the UV rays act on the releasing of chlorine atoms, means that can be break down this chlorofluorocarbon in the proton, and due to the degradation of the chlorine, it can be releasing the molecular oxygen with the atom of the Marelli catalyst, and the chlorine atoms are not consumed in the reaction also. Hence we can say, especially with the help of that particular conditions, what will happen? Generally, one molecule of active chlorine can be capable to react or break at least 1 lakh molecule of the oxygen, right? So it can be 1 lakh molecule of oxygen. So it is very dangerous for our environment. Only if we can talk about, especially when the CFC are added to the stratosphere, they can have a permanently continuous effect on the ozone. Thereby it can be continue to react with that ozone. Is directly we can say generally the CFCl3, it can break down into the CFCl2 and one molecule of chlorine. This molecule of chlorine can be acts very fastly in that one. Only this can be again this Cl2 again react with UV rays and it again forms the what? CfCl, right, plus chlorine. Then again this molecule of chlorine can react with the ozone, means we can say, especially in that particular conditions, sorry, this chlorine can react with ozone O3. What will happen? It can be capable to form ClO plus oxygen breakdown, right? And after that it can be capable to convert again, right? After that particular reactions it can be capable to chlor oxide plus O3 reacted with that one, and it will form the Cl molecule and 2O2. This formation can be occurs into the atmosphere. Means this way this can be capable to break in our environment, right? As I already told you, whenever this chlorofluorocarbon enters in our atmosphere, in the stratosphere, it reacts with the ozone, means especially with the alpha UV rays, it can be broken down and releasing the chlorine active molecule, and that chlorine active molecule react with the ozone and it can be break that ozone into the simple oxygen condition, due to which the total conditions of the our environmental can be decreases in that particular. And the depletion of ozone is very dangerous for the survival of different conditions, means we can say the harmful effects of ozone can be shown over there. Suppose we can talk about the simple mechanism that the UV radiation will causes sunburn, skin cancer and eye cataract, right? Evenly it can also depress or suppress our immune systems in of human beings and our body. Evenly we can say the UV radiation results that decreases the population of aquatic species, and the this UV radiation can also show some effect that enhance of the photochemicals, smoke and acid deposition, and may be affected to paint and plastics in our surroundings. Even and some other harmful effect that we can say that these ozone depleting substances, due to the ozone breakdowns, the reduced yield of the some crops decreases the forest productivity from the UV sensitive trees planted, right? And we can say these ozone depletion can also contribute for the global warming, because they can be decreased ocean uptake of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere by the phytoplant. Ketone CFCs can also acts like a greenhouse gases, so it can be also very dangerous for our conditions. Then after that, for that conditions, the different international initiative for the mitigation of ozone depletion, means how the all the different scientists of the all over the world, they will make them done some specific type of works to avoid the such conditions that the depletion of ozone can be reduces. For that the different protocols can be run, especially Montreal Protocol, right? Then under the Montreal Protocol was convention signed in the 1987 by the 27 industrialized countries, right? And it is a landmark international agreement to the protocol stratospheric ozone to the limit and production of use such ozone depletion substance. Means in that particular 27 industrialized countries have signed the such protocol that they all are going to be reduce the total emissions of the ozone depleting substances in their countries. So due to which this can be always helpful to reductions of the ozone depleting substance. On the other hand, in 1999, the an amendment named as Beijing Amendment was passed on the substances that depleting of the ozone layer in 1989, especially in the China. Right? Amendment lays down step the reduced emission of HCFC, hydrochlorofluorocarbon in the developing and developed countries under the Beijing Amendment. On the other hand, there is another conferences can be done, that is called the Earth Summit, United Nations Conference on the Environment and Development 1992. It was held in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil and adopted for the recommendations of the CCE, right? Especially under this, the Convention on the Climate Changes for the reducing the greenhouse gases, means for the reducing of the chlorofluorocarbon, methane, nitrogen oxide, carbon dioxide, right? In that particular conditions, we can say. And in 2012, the second Earth Summit Rio Plus 20 was also held in Rio de Janeiro. This conference focused on two themes, especially green economy in the context of the sustainable development and the poverty of the eradications, and as well as the second one we can say the industrialization or institutional framework for this sustainable development. After that, we can say according to the Kyoto Protocol, December 1997. In that particular condition, the international conference held in the Kyoto, Japan, obtained to commitment for the different countries for the reducing overall greenhouse gases emission to an average of the 5% against 1990 level in the period from the 2008 to 2012. And according to the new commitment, the parties committed to reduce the greenhouse gases emission of the at least 80% below the 1990 that level in the 8 years period for the 2013 to 2020. But it is still going on in such conditions in different categories, but it is not committed in all over the world. So after that, you all must know if the different people can utilize the different conditions and the degradation by the improper resources of utilizations and the maintenance. We can say due to that particular condition, the ill effects can be also found in all over the world. Especially if we can talk about into the soil erosion and desertifications. Means we can say the formation of fertile topsoil takes centuries, right? So many long period, but it can be cultivated by due to the over cultivations, unrestricted grazing, deforestation and poor irrigation systems. So the fertile soil can be removed by arid patches of the lands, right? And we can say that the barren patches when left for a long time for the desert one, means the desertification can be occurs in that such special kind of problems if the proper utilization of the natural resources is not done. And we can say there are some other things which can also affect to the our environmental conditions, right? In which we can especially understand about this one. Even the desertification can become a major problem nowadays due to the increase of the urbanization. Means as well as the development of the cities, the constructions can be occurring, the industrialization is occurring. It can be also responsible for the desertification in different places in our surroundings. And if we can talk about the water logging and soil salinity, as we know that because of such conditions, especially in different places, right, we can say the such condition can be also occur in our surroundings. Especially we can say the irrigation without proper drainage systems, right? The water leads to water logging in the soil, and it can be just depositions of the land surfaces and collection of the roots by the plants one. And we can say the salt content inhibit growth of the crop and damage of the agriculture. As well as the salt can be accumulated in the soil because of the water logging, right? What will happen? It can be also affects the crop or the agriculture materials which can be grown in that particular condition. So we can say the green revolution has increased the water logging and soil salinity. Because of such conditions, the people can be started to utilize more and more substances in that areas. So it can be also very ill practices for the development of this one. So students, you must prepare notes, and then tomorrow we will complete this lesson that with the deforestation, its causes and its effects in our surroundings. So you must complete and prepare all the notes, and if still you have any problem, if you still have not understand anything, you can ask me in the your query classes. So let's to complete this lesson now. And students, stay in your home and Stay away from the patient which are infected with corona. Thank you.